Welcome to Psychologie of Home. My guest today is Rena, who just graduated from our March Psychologie of Home Design School. So it's been about a month.
Yeah.
And we're just checking in with you.
Awesome.
I start by backing up just a little bit a lot. And going back to Rena is from Brazil, backing up to your childhood and really what home means to you, what it meant to you as a young person, and going into when this field, when this profession really kind of started to seem like a possibility for you. And I know you have your own business.
Yeah.
So, and I want to hear about that, but let's back up and just talk about Rena as a youngster and in another country. And just what was that like for you, your family?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring this because for me, I think this background is very present and my decision of doing this as a profession. My mom is an architect, so I think that I was brought to this world in an environment that minded about home. And my grandmother, not my mom's mom, but my father's mom, was a natural, queen of beauty. She just could see beauty everywhere, and her house was just amazing. It smelled amazing, and it had plants everywhere. And she was very careful about positions, the choices she made. She had she was more of a traditional kind of Baroque style, but everything was just so nice and beautiful about her house. So I think I was brought up in that environment, and it was natural for me just to care about the house. And has always been. So I moved in to live by myself when I was 18. I didn't have any money for putting anything together, buying anything. But my house was always a nice place where people loved being, and I just made things up. At some point, I realized that what was so natural for me was not as natural to everyone else. But it took a while. I mean, it was not something very clear to me that this skill could be turned into a profession. But it's for sure something that comes very natural, that I hold really dear. It's really important for me. It's not like an aesthetic thing. It's really energetic. And I do care a lot. And it makes, for me, it's a temple. And I think I grew up in that. We never talked about it. It's just was something that was given to me and made sense since I was a kid.
Yeah, I didn't realize that your mom was an architect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is mine. And I think that it does give you from a very early age, my mom's been showing me floor plans of our homes. And so I understood how to read a floor plan. And in fact, how I design is in a 2D way, because I think I saw things from the top down.
I remember as a kid just also looking at floor plans and also those pamphlets from real developments that they just show how the apartment is going to be.
Yeah.
And just to be amazed by the beauty of the drawings and the 2D floor plans. I also have this memory from a young age. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just acknowledging, your special gift, that just like you said, other people might not have that. Not everybody is born able to lay out an area, a space, and care about the function, the flow, and the form, and want to fully realize that. They kind of just exist in these spaces and not necessarily know how to put it together, and which we're very grateful for.
Yeah, totally. And my grandma was like that. So she was a natural, and she was really amazing, great inspiration. And also I feel when I put my business together, I put a word that it's common to music, jazz. It's in the name of my business, because I think that the environment acts on us just like music. You don't understand what's going on, but it makes you feel things. And it doesn't matter if you're in that mood or not.
Right.
Right? It just affects you directly into the heart. And I do think that the environment and the way that things are put around us do affect us the same way, even if we don't understand what's going on. So you don't need to be a musician to
enjoy
feel
music.
it, to enjoy music. And you don't need to be a designer, but it's good that not everyone can do it.
Yeah,
So
it's very good.
Because it's such a gift to do this for other persons too, right?
It's very rewarding.
It's very rewarding. Just really to be sure that you're affecting intimately into that person's life or the family's life. So I appreciate that a lot.
And just really getting to know who these people truly are. So when you give them that final installation, they're like, how does this look like us? Like, how did you know? And but they don't realize they were giving us little clues along the way, especially like when you do the first client walkthrough. I have them just walk and talk. I don't guide it at all. I'm like, you tell me, this is your house. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what's working, what's not working. What's your relationship with all this? And they always start out with like, I mean, it's not that great. We don't really have. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden they identify, every little piece and say where it came from, if they like it or they don't, if it makes them feel badly, what their baggage is with it. And, that piece can go, we don't like that. And then maybe, if you're working with, two spouses or partners, there might be like, well, I love it, she hates it, or, you can get that kind of thing. But those are all the things that I'm really paying attention to, because I'm going to make sure that I'm giving them what they do want. And, so they kind of don't realize like how much we're soaking up, during those first walkthroughs by just listening and paying attention and looking for just clues, a little Sherlock Holmes action there.
Yeah. So, and also like that you create a space where they will see themselves in. And so it's just the clues they give you, but also somehow like the clues you get just by being there, what you want to show that they don't realize.
Like show their home's potential to them.
Yeah. Or even like, their personalities and how you can just make that bigger and present everywhere else, right?
Yeah, I hear a lot like, I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have never thought of that, but I like it. That's like my favorite thing a client says is, I wouldn't have thought about that, but I really like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, win. So, okay, fast forward to you created this business. Tell us, it's Jazz It Up, right?
It's called the Jazz Up.
Jazz Up. Okay.
Yeah. Jazz It Up was my first attempt, but that URL was taken.
Oh, okay.
So the Jazz Up, I got I got the jazzup.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when I started, Cami, I started wanting to help people put their houses together with what they had. So it was not an interior designer.
Right.
And I did present myself more as a decorator.
Yeah.
I was not creating spaces from scratch. I was really like jazzing up houses. And it is mind-blowing what we can do with what people already have. Like so many people don't have a clue of like how just to position.
Yeah.
And
or
sometimes you're just so clinged onto things that they see in magazines that they cannot think outside of the box and create something that makes sense for that space. Anyways, so my business started that way. And it was such a good practice because I really did not have the intention of buying anything. What I would buy plants, 99% of the times people don't have a plant. And I do think that you need one at least. So plants and sometimes like throw pillows, throw blankets or whatever, but just minor.
So you bring in kind of minimal things.
Yeah, but help them like hang pictures, like things like, and people here in this country has so much. They have like garages full of other things that they are not using. So sometimes I would bring something from the bedroom to the living room, like just
it's
move
fun.
Things around. And it was super fun and super good practice. So, but with time, the clients started to change and they would just ask me then to help them find a sofa, find a rug. And so naturally the business was taken more towards the interior designer kind of approach, which I like. And it's different, but still. And it's when you showed up in my life. I mean, because then I started to face a barrier that I mean, I moved to this country. I didn't have any clue of how to do it.
Right.
Because when I started, I didn't need anything. I didn't need like trade accounts. I didn't need anything. I didn't need anything.
Yeah,
I
you
would just
set it up so
really
you
do
wouldn't
it
need
myself.
anything.
Yeah. I set it up. I had like 2 little girls, and I did have just very little time every week free to do whatever I wanted. And so it started really minimal, and it grew kind of organically. But then I faced the challenge of really not knowing what I was getting into, and knowing how to best do instead of reinvent the wheel myself.
Yeah.
And I do still feel like the fact that I am a foreigner, that I like that language is not my best skill. That kind of holds me back a little bit in being like more courageous just to talk to people.
I, for one, on that note, because you didn't share that with me in design school, just to interject, I think it's kind of one of your superpowers. I think it sets you apart, and I think it's kind of mysterious. You know, my Brazilian interior designer.
Yeah.
And I think your background is something that you can talk about, the architect mom, the grandma that, you know, had this beautiful sense of style. And so I think you come across, and I think your English is excellent, by the way.
Thank you.
I've never not been able to understand you. And so I think it would behoove you to let go of that. I think it's actually just not true. I think it's really a neat, different thing about you.
Yeah. I think
people want different in this. They don't want cookie cutter. They're looking for an edge. They're looking for something that sets their home apart. And we're creating a new story for our clients. So we're actually being invited into their lives, and there will be this story around how you came in, and, you know, this tiny girl from Brazil, she came in and she was, you know, had all this love language around design in our home. And, you know, so I think it's this really interesting relationship that will happen. But I think we are part of their story. So I think people will like you being part of their story. I think it's interesting, you know?
Yeah. I decided, I mean, out of so many other possibilities, like being a designer and working for myself, it's one of the ways that I totally think language like harms me the least.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think I need to just change my perspective and see it more as a leverage rather than, but it's just like in the beginning and being by myself, it just held me back.
Well, yeah, you're kind of in this.
Good to meet you. And when I read your post on Instagram, it spoke like straight to my story, because I did not also have a background, and it's just,
we don't have a professional, you know, like a formal education, but we do have a background.
Yeah.
You know, that's why.
We do,
yeah. So
and we have a similar one, because I also started in fashion, but then I moved to biology.
Okay. That's where I didn't go. So, but you know what I mean? I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we do have. And sometimes we kind of keep pointing out to ourselves this sort of lack, this sort of limitation that we have, that we bring to the table. And it's just not true. So if we didn't believe it, if we let that go, then it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So totally. No one's putting that on you. Just like, you know, sometimes I think that as I get older, I'm 56 now, I put that age on me. You know, I put that number. It's just like, that's 4 years away from 60. Oh my God, I'm done. I'm not relevant anymore. And then you realize, I'm like a 16-year-old always. You know, I'm never, you know, appropriate or play by any, you know, respected rules. Like, you know, even just how I sit in a chair. This is really hard for me. I usually sit crisscross applesauce. So it's interesting how we use this negative language or this limiting language against ourselves, instead of just like, hey, maybe this is actually my superpower. And what I have found about interior design is that it really rewards those of us that are a little bit more mature. You know, I could be doing this well into my 70s or whatever I want, because my work is what I'm being hired for. And that's what people are, that's what's resonating. So,
and I will interrupt you. Not only that you can grow and be better as you grow, but when I started, one of the reasons, like, I moved here because of my husband. So it was inside my scope of life that I might need to move again. And this is something that you can just bring with you.
We can do it anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah. You can literally reinvent yourself anywhere because your website lives everywhere.
Yeah.
And you can keyword, I'm keywording Italy now or Venice or wherever I want to be. And I do want to be there.
Yeah.
I want to do boutique hotels somewhere in Europe. But
amazing.
Yeah. But
Portugal.
Yeah. In Portugal. Yeah. So I haven't been to Portugal, but
you will love it.
I've heard. We'll have to get together and you can tell me where I need to go.
Yeah.
So it's one of those businesses where you have a skill that you could literally do anywhere in the world. Every space needs designing, whether you're into yoga studios or Kim, your classmate, is into educational settings. And so there isn't a single space that doesn't need to be well thought out in terms of form, function, and flow. So, and in comes us to save the day. So, well, tell us about where you are right now. So you have this existing business, the Jazz Up. You've gone to design school. You're in the know. Your confidence is higher than it was pre-design school. And what do you want to do with this? What's your next year look like? And what are your obstacles that are either real or made up?
I think so. I'm really committed to put in practice every note I taken during the week that I was here. So I started just reviewing the website, contacting photographers to get better photography. I think that's my number one need.
Yep.
Haven't heard back from her yet, but I already talked to another one. So establishing trade accounts.
Okay.
This was my second step. Now I have this Disney World week, but then
I'm not going to be a ton of inspiration there, but
okay, I don't think so.
In fact, don't get inspired there.
Yes, and but my plan is then to get into just get the word out there and get some reviews. So my aspiration is really to step up, and I think that maybe get clients that are more in that level with that kind of need.
Yeah. A little more funded and
a little more funded. Yeah. Because in the beginning I positioned myself so much into the very affordable way to do it.
Yes.
And I'm just, so the goal is to step up, especially this, so that I can start making some money myself. And
money.
Yeah.
Well, and interesting, because when I started, and I heard this a lot from the students in design school, is we sort of have this mentality, especially when we're online shopping, which is kind of what we do when we're going to our vendor accounts and looking for things, but we're obviously not shoppers, we're designers. But when we're doing that, we kind of fall back into that, I want to get something for as cheap as possible. I want it to be quality, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. And, so we're kind of in that, we win if we save. And as designers, we're not concerned, nor do we want to throw out, I'm trying to beat the budget, I'm trying to save you money. You really need to keep it as, I'm trying to make your home an absolute sanctuary level environment. And it's not about the money. It is in the way that you need to know what they have. But when my clients will say, we have $50,000 for the furnishings, and then I'll kind of flesh out how we're going to use that for the various rooms. And that is my not to exceed budget, but I'm not trying to give them money back. I'm not trying to not spend it. So in my contract, I literally say that I have the right to have wiggle room between items. So I might end up buying a rug that's $1,000 more than I put on the budget. So now I'm,
you negotiate with yourself.
So that I have that wiggle room, but my goal is never, even if they use language around saving money and can we get that for less, I really, really get in there and say, that's not what we're doing here. I'm designing your home. I'm creating, this space, and I kind of take them back to what were your goals in the beginning. And so that's what we're doing here. We're not trying to save money. We're not going to spend more. I don't have the right to go over your budget. But that's the kind of language I kind of keep it at. And I think it really helps the whole process elevate and gets us out of money. Because even when I do my design concepts, I don't share how much anything costs at that point. I know I have to adhere to the budget, so it doesn't matter how much that rug. And so I very specifically, intentionally omit that amount. So I don't talk about individual items. At some point, they're going to see their updated invoice, but I don't want to make it about that. And so even just getting into that mentality is hard for some of us because as consumers, we might have been like, no, I'm always trying to get the best deal, and it feels good. It's like a win, but that's not what we're doing in design. And so really keeping that focus. And I think also how much we're getting compensated for doing that. It's like, so if on one hand, you're trying to get them a cheap, sofa or something like that, now they're also paying you. Are we trying to win on that too? So I don't want that whole conversation to, get intertwined with the project that we're doing and the process. So it is about money, but it's like you got to be carefully place it where it goes in the conversation.
Yeah,
because we're really trying to elevate everything, and I don't think you can diminish and cheapen at the same time you're elevating. So.
Yeah, I think it's a skill to develop also, like just to be able to talk about money with your clients.
Yeah.
And it's such an important skill that we are usually not well trained to do.
Yeah. It's just like anything. Yeah. I mean, everything we did in design school, everything you've done for your business, everything you've ever done was practice. So even we play the game Pick One. We played it 24 times in March. And just for the viewers or listeners, it's where I give you 8 of something, 8 table lamps, 8 area rugs, and you have 60 seconds on the clock to choose the one that you would put in your own home. Day 1, everyone's like, oh my gosh, I didn't have enough time. I don't know. I don't even like the one I picked. Day 3, no problem. Day 6, you didn't even need so it just takes, and the reason we play that game is so you can develop strong opinions, because that's what our clients need from us. We also need it from us too. As we're doing a project, we can't just take forever and ever to make a decision and second guess and overthink and all that kind of stuff. But our clients really need us to not be wishy-washy. They need us to just present our idea. They don't want 5 options for their wallpaper. Yeah. And so everything just takes practice. In the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know, who am I to say what their sink should look like in their kitchen? But I am. Who am I? I'm their designer. I'm literally the one who has to source that and sell it with enthusiasm, and it has to fit the budget and all the other things. But they really respect you when you can just give them those strong opinions. So flexing that muscle. But that's all of it. Same thing with creating design concepts, same things with your online portfolio, same thing with floor and space planning. All of it comes with time. What I love about interior design is it's actually not hard. I don't like hard things. I don't like anything that's complex. It has too many variables and I'm out. I don't want to watch 10 YouTube videos on how to do something. I don't want to watch one. But I do want everyone to watch this YouTube video. So all of them. So it's just practice. And so just do the thing, do the work. That's all it takes. And obviously we have different layers in this business of what you need to learn, but just focus on one, practice, and you're going to get it. And that's really what the curriculum was really to teach you is like, people on day 4, when we were doing floor and space planning, most people had never, ever done a space plan before. You have a mother who's an architect, so you at least knew what it was. But there were some people who are like, I literally didn't know anything about this process. By the end of the day, they're like, okay, it still feels hard, but it doesn't feel scary. It feels attainable. And part of it is because I choose programs that are easy. I hate SketchUp. I hate Revit. I hate all that stuff because it's hard, and if I can do the job with something that's easy and quick, and I love efficiency. I just love things, I do want to get to my personal life too. So just practice.
practice.
Yeah. And that's how you get better. And that's how you get confident. And that's how you start getting the really big bucks and the really cool jobs with recession-proof clients that don't care that interest rates are up right now because they aren't doing a HELOC or a refi. They have money. So it's a very calm, and they have multiple homes and they're going to have you do all of them because they love you.
Yeah.
Once they work with us, we're like again, we're part of their story.
Yeah.
They're not like going to go find someone else.
And I feel like it feels so good to them to then just delegate that part because it makes them so anxious also like to make the choices. And sometimes between the couples, right? It's just a lot of like disagreements and then suddenly they just like can third party that stress of making choices and discussing about it between themselves. So
no, we're solving a big problem.
Yeah,
we're problem solvers. No, it does. It's very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the next big project for you that you don't have right now that you're dreaming of having? What does that project look like?
I think pretty bread and butter, just like houses with bigger budgets that I can, and I have never done it like with trade accounts. So usually I did retail with my clients.
Yeah.
And so
it's the logical thing.
That, and because then it's also like a different way of doing it. They have now setting up some accounts. I'm getting to know their material and their products, and some like offer just a limited amount. So sometimes you do need to look for in different places to find what you need and combine. So I think my next one, hopefully, and it will happen, is just like a client with a bigger budget that I can just practice that new way of doing it. So, especially with the vendors and to do it.
Okay, so pop quiz. How's that going to happen? What's the most important way to get there, to attract that client? What's the number one?
That number one, I think, is the website, and then be able to put that. Yeah. So the website, I think that my website is halfway there. I need just better pictures of my work.
Yeah.
And that's my next in my to-do list. And then after that, I think house is also like going to help just being out there where people are literally looking for interior designers.
How's the website? HOUZZ.
ZZ.
Yeah.
I have been contacted by them like last year, but never set up like a pro account. So now these are the two steps that I'm envisioning. Because now I have like the templates, my approach, my onboarding, like the material. I worked on that this month.
Good.
And setting up the trade accounts. So I think next is the website. And
I think writing a really compelling about page about your story.
Yeah. And then I have many clients to ask for reviews.
For reviews,
So but I'm waiting for the website. I just don't want to kill it with my...
No, you got to wait until you're ready to
the website,
get those reviews. Yes. But okay, so reviews, online portfolio, which is your website, and getting on some of those social media sites like House, HOUZZ. Yelp, for whatever reason, is a good one too. I know it seems cheesy, but a lot of people find me on Yelp, and obviously Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
You got to go where the clients are. Where are these people that are well-funded that have homes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm pretty confident. I think I read the book.
Good.
Vika Kemi asks us to read a book.
Jen Sincero's You're Badass at Making Money.
Yeah. So it's, and I had that proven myself in like with my small business. I began really like out of zero. And I gave one consultation, like 1 4-hour hands-on jazz up in my kids preschool, co-op preschool.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Auction.
Yeah.
That was how I started.
Okay.
Gave it for free. So I didn't get anything, but I got someone who tried me on and put some posts on Facebook saying, "Oh, Hannah came here. It's such amazing."
Except for that you didn't get paid for it.
Except for that part. But, like, it's just by doing that you get to the next step.
Yep.
There's no other way.
Just do the thing.
So, and the next step will come. So I'm doing it. And again, I told you that, I think my email, I said, like, it's so funny how we do encounter these, like, weird fears, and even like, just like setting up the trade accounts, the fear of they're not accepting me, like just weird fears that are totally not rational, but just like that you're getting bigger also, it's scary. And so I'm also like doing that journey, and she's just getting stronger about what I do.
Okay, you said fear a couple times, but I've come to recognize that fear is just a call to action. And so my job when I get scared is what's the action? That's the thing I have to do. So it's irrational or irrational, whatever our brain does. But if we're afraid of something, it means something to us. And so what is it that means something to us? Because I want to find that out, because I'm not afraid of things that aren't important, right?
Yeah.
Things that are unimportant or things I don't want to do, I'm not afraid of, because it's not on my radar. So anything that gives me a lot of sort of anxiety and trepidation and fear, I'm like, shit, I got to do that. I got to, it's a call to action.
Yeah.
It's not a call to inaction.
No, definitely not.
So when I'm talking to prospective students and I don't know if I can get over the imposter syndrome, I don't know if I can get over my fear, and I'm like, that's telling you to do the thing, not to not do the thing. That's how you get over the fear.
Exactly.
That's exactly how you get over the fear.
Yeah, it's like not doing, it's giving into it, right? And giving it the power.
Yeah. So no more giving fear any power.
Yeah.
It has power. It has the call to action. That's the power.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for this. It was so lovely having you here, and I enjoyed you immensely in design school, and you must keep in touch.
I will.
And tell me all about it.
I will need you.
Yeah, I'm here for you. I've told you I'm part of your support system.
Yeah. So. Thank you. Amazing.
Thanks, Rena. Come on, buddy. Let's go, George. Come on. Oh, yeah, buddy. You know what your family room doesn't have to be? Floppy and sad. It can actually have a little personality. Of course, you want it to be comfortable. I want a place that I can lounge and nap and hang out for hours and hours, but I also want it to look good. And sometimes I think we put furniture in our family room that was given to us, or it used to be in an apartment that we had, and we just kind of made it work. We forget to really put some time and attention into this space that we spend so much time in. So yes, for comfortable and cozy, but let's make it fun and have a little personality. Sloppy and sad is not the goal.